Wine and Crime contains graphic and explicit content which may not be suitable for some viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
Okay. You are listening to Wine and Crime, the podcast where three friends chug wine, chat true crime, and unleash their worst Minnesotan accents.
Yeah.
And honestly, I could extend my vowels more, but I chose not to.
Stretch
Vowels.
those off. Stretch those vowels.
Also, condense my vowels.
Activating my phlegm.
Okay.
Okay. I remembered. I'm Kenyan.
Oh,
I'm Lucy.
I'm Amanda.
We have a very special fan pick this week brought to you by Ravina Jamu.
I am so excited about this episode.
I'm very excited too. I'm very excited for how excited Amanda is.
My case is so weird.
This is the second in like a couple of weeks where we've covered a topic that was like at one point my career path.
Yep.
Yep. Lucy had a lot of ideas, lots of thoughts about what she would become.
I wanted to be
Podcaster, not one of them.
My
No.
case is
Does anyone
basically
want to be a podcaster when they're little?
No. When people ask me for consultations, usually my first advice is like, don't do it.
Mine is, what is your goal for starting a podcast?
Right. Because if it's money, good luck.
Yeah.
I did pick a case today that like could be Lucy's deeply macabre future, so it's a cautionary tale, honey.
Ooh. Okay, well, we haven't
is
even
it
said the
cautionary?
theme yet, the topic.
Oh yeah.
So Ravina, her birthday is in February, and we are recording this in February.
Happy birthday month.
Happy
Oh, it's my sister's
belated.
birthday today. Fuck.
It is. I already
yeah.
texted her. I texted her hours ago. I'm better.
Okay, well, whatever.
Happy birthday, Madeline.
She'll survive. It's technically doesn't
Tomorrow.
exist this year because she's
Well,
a leap
true.
year baby.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, Ravina selected the topic.
Sorry, Ravina.
Veterinary Villains. There we go. And I
Kenyon
don't.
always fucking makes me laugh right when I've taken a sip of water. My eyes are watering because I was holding it in so hard.
Maybe you're just gigglier when you have liquid in your mouth.
Maybe.
No, I'm funny. I don't know why Ravina selected Veterinary Villains. I don't know if she is a vet or just is a fan of vets everywhere.
Let's find
Or
out.
has a vendetta against vets. I don't know.
Well, all of those things I'm sure will be covered in this episode.
She works in a veterinary clinic while
There
she
we
works
go.
towards getting her pilot's license.
Oh my God, is
How
it Elizabeth?
cool.
Right?
Yeah, I know. Is it my mom? All right. Well, Ravina, you're awesome. And let's get to our wine crime pairing. Amanda.
Ravina is even more awesome than we know because, funny story, that Mutt Lynch Zinfandel that I used for photography crimes
Yeah.
was supposed to be the pairing for this episode.
I thought it sounded familiar and I didn't say anything.
To be fair, though, the note in the doc didn't have the wine brand and listed a Chardonnay as the varietal, so I had no idea what that wine was and like what I was looking out for. And Ravina confirmed that she couldn't include a note in the order, so it came just like nude with no information. So I was just like, okay. And the brand of the wine wasn't in the doc. Like, I had no idea
Well,
what that
it was a
wine
great pairing.
It really was. And so she found it super funny that this like snafu happened. Didn't mind at all. Said she was just glad that I really liked the Zinfandel and that she had picked out a wine that I enjoyed. She was very gracious for all of my apologies. And she's, a literal angel on earth. And I actually think this also works out well because I was able to drink that when I wasn't sick and like really enjoy it. And as we record this, I'm still sick, so I'm not mixing alcohol with cough medicine because I'm taking a lot of cough medicine. So what I actually have right now are carrot sticks and lemon water for what I'm consuming today. But for the listeners at home who are able to partake, I found this really cute winery that you can order wine from that I felt like was very on brand for veterinary villains, but also just like honoring a vet, whatever. It's called Rescue Dog Wines. You can get their wine at rescuedogwines.com. They're based out of California. They have a ton of different varietals. Their labels are so stinking cute. And the couple that owns this winery is very passionate about rescuing dogs themselves that can like live a beautiful life on a fucking vineyard.
Oh my God.
And then they also make like consistent contributions to rescue organizations, not just in California, though they do like to,
Focus.
stay local, but they have made contributions to organizations all over the country. So I just wanted to shout out rescuedogwines.com. Check them out. Their wines look really, really fucking good.
And
so
we will partake when you're not sick.
Absolutely. 100%. Are you two drinking anything fun today?
No, I'm drinking water. We're doing an afternoon recording and,
It's
I'm
little
a mom.
early. Yeah.
Hashtag I'm a mom now.
Hashtag such a mom.
I'm drinking water too.
Oh my God. We're so boring. I love us.
Yay!
Yeah. Don't
Well,
worry. We'll
you're
still be
gonna-
a shit show at heart.
Yeah, we don't need to be drunk to be a complete and utter fucking mess.
Mm-hmm.
No.
So cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
It's built in.
All
Yeah,
right,
It
Lucy.
is inherent.
What is our background and maybe psych for veterinary villains?
I don't think I have psych, but I wrote these notes like 2 weeks ago because this is our third attempt at recording this episode.
It is. Oh yeah, we should probably say Evelyn definitely haunting us still.
Oh, 100%.
I
Because
didn't mean to piss her off.
we're sorry. We love you. We tried to record this. Lucy's internet cut out. We tried to record this. Amanda got super duper sick. And then yesterday tried to record this and both of my neighbors' houses caught on fire.
Like exploded.
And she had to evacuate.
I had to evacuate my home and have a firefighter. I mean, my house is fine and everyone in it is fine, but had to have a firefighter run into my house and grab my baby's car seat and a bottle from the fridge. Before they could give
Evelyn's
us the
giving,
all
like,
clear.
Real Shannon vibes recently.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
can we just fucking lock it up? What sacrifice? Madeline!
Madeline.
Happy birthday.
It's your last birthday.
We need to sacrifice Madeline because
Yeah.
otherwise we cannot achieve homeostasis.
31st birthday.
Ooh, before the clock strikes midnight on her 31st birthday, we must sacrifice her to the Evelyn Shannon goals.
I'm in.
Last night in bed, we turned the light off and we were going to sleep, and then I heard a clink, clink, clink against the light, and I was like, shit, oh my God, what the fuck is that? And Zach goes, oh, it's just like a moth. And I go, what? And it wasn't a moth, it was a stink
The Miller
bug.
moths. Oh,
So I feel better.
wow, yeah.
It wasn't a moth. It was just a ghost.
It was just Evelyn.
It was Evelyn
Okay.
tapping the light.
Here we go. Here we go.
Anyway.
Here we go. From my lover, Encyclopedia Britannica. Veterinary medicine, also called veterinary science, is the medical specialty concerned with the prevention, control, diagnosis, and treatments of diseases affecting the health of domestic and wild animals, and with the prevention of transmission of animal diseases to people.
Oh.
So it's very, very
like
wide-ranging.
rabies and stuff, I'm guessing. Not like COVID.
Well, yeah, COVID.
Oh.
They study how animal diseases are transferred to humans.
Okay.
So any Ebola,
Mad cow.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay.
Veterinarians ensure a safe food supply for people by monitoring and maintaining the health of food-producing animals. Vets can work in even in aerospace or the military. So when they have animals go to space, there's a veterinarian in charge.
Like Laika, who didn't come back.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Most of the old ones didn't come back, and
Yeah.
we've discussed that, and we're over it.
Some of us more than others.
So they can work for the military from inspecting food to caring for military dogs to identifying possible bioterrorism attacks. Because you could put a disease on a bunch of rats and have them infect a
them
whole
out.
city or something.
Okay, new fear unlocked.
Yeah.
You-
Jesus.
every week, honey.
I know, but Thinking about arming the rats with a new disease?
That's so
Yeah.
1357.
I mean, or mosquitoes. Just
don't
engineer
even
some
get me
mosquitoes
started.
to be like ultra malarial.
Nope.
1,000%. Birds are
Yeah.
filthy.
Oh, birds are filthy.
Okay.
Tiny backpacks.
Yeah.
Tiny
Oh,
backpacks.
I was just listening to an episode of The Dollop, and they were talking about like hundreds of years ago, pigeons being used to
Smuggle drugs?
Drugs. Yes.
Yeah,
So
like in the prison.
It's a time-honored tradition.
I love it.
Tiny backpacks. They're so cute.
They are so cute.
Veterinary medicine has made many important contributions to animal and human health. Included are dramatic reductions in animal sources of human exposure to tuberculosis. Ever heard of it?
I know
And
her.
Brucellosis. Don't know
Bruce
her.
Springsteen.
What?
How are animals in
What? Of Lucy's response. What?
Well, what?
How are animals involved in TB?
I don't know.
Okay, I'm gonna Google it.
Yeah, you Google it. I have no idea. Safe and effective vaccines have been developed for prevention of many companion, like pet animal diseases. For example, canine and feline distemper. So it's like when they're just a little baby and they have that horrible cold and their eyes are all watery and they can't breathe. That's called distemper or panleukopenia. Panleukopenia.
Bovine tuberculosis is transmitted between cattle, between badgers, and I don't know how this has happened, but apparently it has, between those two species,
Oh.
cattle and badgers.
Isn't anthrax a bovine disease also?
Anthrax is a fungus, no? It's spores.
It can be
And-
transmitted
and
with
it can kill
cows.
cattle for sure.
I know nothing, Jon Snow.
Anthrax and cow.
Okay.
Okay. Panleukopenia. The vaccine developed for control of Marek's disease in chickens was the first anti-cancer vaccine. Veterinarians developed surgical techniques such as hip joint replacement and organ transplants that were later applied successfully to people. Pretty cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
A major challenge to veterinary medicine is adequately attending to the diversity of animal species because there's a lot of fucking animals.
Okay, I was wrong. Anthrax is a bacteria, but you were right that it can infect cattle and sheep and goats and all that shit, and then people can get sick from the animals. Next.
Nailed it.
Sorry.
Next.
Veterinarians address the health needs of domestic animals, including cats, dogs, chickens, horses, cows, sheep, pigs, and goats. They also attend to wildlife, zoo animals, pet birds, and ornamental fish. The sizes of animals that are treated vary from newborn hamsters. Oh my
Oh
God.
my God. What's cuter than a newborn hamster? Actually, they're kind of
I
gross.
saw
yeah.
a TikTok.
Ugh. They look like just like a bunch
Like a
of phlegm.
pinky.
They look like little erasers.
Well, yes, they do.
But you know how like the mother hamster can sometimes eat her babies?
Yeah.
There was a video of a mother hamster just snacking on one of her kids. The comments were like, yes, pro-choice queen. This woman's living for herself.
Oh,
She's putting herself first.
Oh,
Oh no.
Don't let the conservatives
see it.
get a hold of that joke TikTok.
Yeah. Tucker Carlson's going to have a
joke.
field day.
Yeah, Democrats are eating their babies like hamsters.
Well, okay, so the sizes vary from newborn hamsters, little erasers, to adult elephants, as do their economic values, which range from the undefinable value of a pet animal companionship to the high monetary value of a winning racehorse.
I always pass by this vet clinic, this like large animal vet clinic when I'm going out to see the Finkenauers in Dassel. And I know there are a lot of farms out there, so it makes sense for there to be a large animal vet clinic. But like on the sign, it has kind of what you're saying, like all these cute silhouettes of animals going from like a rabbit all the way up to an elephant. And I'm like, where the fuck are the elephants in Dassel that you're treating? Like, why is this on your side?
Isn't there a zoo near Dassel?
I don't know, probably.
There was like a roadside zoo up there that Blortney kept talking about.
I don't think that one's near Dassel, but I have been to another roadside zoo that didn't have elephants, but it did have giraffes, and I got to feed them.
That is sad.
And it was deeply sad.
Zoos are really sad. Unless
They
they're like
can be.
amazing. Unless they're like, like the San Diego Zoo or something.
Well,
They
we've
can be very sad.
talked about this on the show before, and we got several hateful emails about how zoos are educational, conservation, blah, blah, blah. So let's just move on.
Hot topic.
Don't email us. So there have been veterinarians since before recorded history. The practice has been established as a specialty since as early as 2000 BCE in Babylonia and Egypt. The ancient Greeks had a class of physicians who were called horse doctors.
Hot. To the point. Make it clear. Love it.
And the Latin term for the specialty is veterinarius, which translates to pertaining to beast of burden.
Wow.
Okay, so like livestock, because pets
Yeah.
weren't so much a thing.
No, because cats had a purpose, dogs had a purpose, horses, cows, all that
Right.
had a purpose and
They're not
a
pets,
burden.
they're employees.
They had a job, they had a burden.
Right.
So that veterinarius came to denote the field in modern times. The difference between a veterinarian and a zoologist, because this was one of my personal questions, is that veterinarians primarily provide medical care to animals that are kept as pets or livestock on a farm, primarily, whereas zoologists are more researchers who primarily focus on understanding the relationship between wild animals or other animals or their habitats.
That's clear and makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, there's a couple difference between veterinarian technicians and veterinarians. So the technicians usually work as assistants to the veterinarians. So they do things like taking x-rays and blood samples, test blood or urine, administer medications, and keep patient records in order.
So, and I swear that this question is for a reason.
Okay.
What kind of education does a veterinary technician require? Like what? How
Vet
many?
techs,
How
there's
many
a 2
years?
year, at least in Minnesota, there's a 2-year program for vet techs. I have some friends that have done it. So that they can learn how to basically do those exact tasks, like draw blood from an animal and do assessment and stuff like that. But they're not doing any complex procedures.
And a veterinarian requires
It's like a medical
much
degree.
lengthier
Yeah.
education.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is what I thought and assumed and is true and factual. And
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if different programs in different states or different schools might have different parameters, but I
go
know
with
there are
this.
vet tech schools for 2 years in Minnesota.
we'll go with that number. It's reasonable. Here's my anecdote.
Oh, gall.
I'm not going to name names,
Oh, no.
but I personally know someone who was hired to be a receptionist
Uh-huh.
at a veterinary clinic.
Which does not require a specific veterinary degree.
No.
That might be closer to my dream job.
This
Less
person
pressure.
has a high school degree
Same.
and nothing else.
Same.
Okay.
You have some college
I do.
An honorary degree from Hamilton.
and an honorary degree from a liberal arts college, from the NESCAC, just in
Love it.
general. And this person worked for a vet who was a little odd, a little bit of an
Okay.
oddball, and the vet
Different.
who was a little different, and the vet would often bring in this teenage receptionist to assist her with surgeries.
Mm-mm.
There was definitely some like suturing that happened.
That's a no from me, Dag.
Yeah.
No. Mm-mm.
That
Nope.
would not be approved by the American Veterinary Medical Association.
No, it would not.
So that situation is no longer happening, but
Mhm.
I got
That's
real
sketchy.
nervous when I
Yeah.
heard about it.
I'm sure the
That's
person you know
sketchy.
was fucking psyched.
Probably.
yeah. The teenager
Probably.
was amped to be given so much responsibility before it really sunk in what the fuck was happening.
Why do you know a
Uh-huh.
teenager?
I'll tell you offline.
Okay.
Oh my God.
And we're back.
Okay.
Don't mind me just bulbing my chapped nose.
Ick.
You really are going to want to get that Patreon video.
So
content.
a little more information about vets versus vet techs. So the techs sometimes perform emergency first aid and assist in the veterinarian during procedures. But again, a veterinary technician has that sort of degree.
Yeah.
That sort of
I
paperwork.
agree.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
do not condone the situation that I mentioned earlier.
No.
Whereas veterinarians may perform all of these duties and also are responsible for diagnosing the cause of illness, recommending treatment, performing surgery, suturing, prescribing treatments and medications, and putting the animals to sleep. Here are some vet facts for you. Most vets treat only small animals every day, with just 1/4 dealing with mixed or wild animals.
Mm.
So they're mostly your neighborhood vet clinic. Dogs, cats, rabbits.
Yeah, you can't expect them to be a encyclopedia if you like bring in like an injured armadillo or something.
A deer you
they
hit
might
with your
they
car.
might not know what to do any more than you do.
Mhm.
I mean, I think that you would be surprised because just the huge variety of animals. That's why veterinarians have to have so much training.
Mm.
Oh, yeah.
And they have to be somewhat versed in like most animals.
Sure, but it's
I
kind
would
of like
also
you
imagine-
wouldn't go to a neurologist if you have a ingrown toenail or
Sure.
you know, like it's their specialty.
There are different specialties, of course.
I'd also imagine regionally, like to us from Minnesota, thinking about bringing in an injured armadillo you hit by your car, like that
Sounds
would be
ridiculous.
really ridiculous. But if you think about that in like the Southwest,
Yeah, of
They
course.
probably do.
they've probably seen it. Yeah,
Yeah.
so stuff like that.
Veterinary care professionals risk their lives daily to promote animal health, resulting in a 50% injury rate.
Mostly
Wow.
from cats. 49% of which are from cats.
We'll get to it.
Lots of dogs. Cats are easy to subdue. Dogs can be really strong.
That's true.
If you know how to handle and subdue a cat, they can only do so much damage.
Right. They're like 8 pounds instead of 80
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
or however much Ray weighs.
17.
Oh my god!
Ray
Oh
weighs a lot more than my
God.
baby.
Yeah.
He figured out how to open the top of his automatic feeder, which isn't
Sir.
easy. You have to press 2 buttons on either side. I don't know how he does it.
How the fuck?
Set up a camera.
You do need a wildlife camera just next to Ray's feeder.
Will you please do
A
it?
ring.
Yes.
How
Do
can
it.
we monetize this?
Security. I'll put one of my Arlos in my kitchen.
Done.
And I can spy on how much Corey's eating in the middle of the night, too.
Oh, this is
That's where
good.
the string cheese is going.
Corey learned how to open the automatic feeder.
Oh my god.
I
This is
need
gonna
like
be-
a fingerprint touchpad on the automatic feeder, the pantry cabinet, the refrigerator, and the freezer.
You need to set up like a TikTok live feed that's just this footage. You'd make
Cryptid
millions.
Corey, black and white, kind of
Cryptid.
blurry.
His
the night
eyes
camera.
glowing in the night
Yeah, gross.
as he's like sneaking a pickle out of the fridge.
His eyes glowing like a raccoon.
Just darting around.
Sir, your snacks.
Yeah, he thinks he hears something, holds really still. Goes back
It
to
would
pulling his
basically
string
be,
of
do you
cheese.
follow that woman, the sleepwalking woman on TikTok?
Yes.
Those videos are so
oh,
amazing.
They're so good.
yeah,
yeah.
I'm picturing that, but with Ray and Corey very much awake and intentionally
I'm
getting
picturing
their
Corey
snacks.
turning to Ray and going, shh,
Don't wake mom.
don't tell
Don't wake your
Mom.
mama. Don't tell mom. This is our special time.
Oh, ew. Okay, anyway. 62% of Americans are unfortunately animal owners. Dogs are America's top choice of companion animals, with almost 77 million dog pets in the U.S. and only 58 million cat pets. However, dog vet appointments cost more than cats at an average of $242 per visit versus $178.
Sure
and their
friggin' do.
costs are just going up because fucking private equity firms are buying up all the local vet clinics and prices are insane.
Callie
true?
had the good grace to
Yeah.
die before inflation really fucked us here in the city. So
Sheesh.
The vet costs, and Josie, like, knock on wood, has not had any serious health issues. Just like standard ass vet care
check up, yeah.
is hundreds of dollars. Like $242, I would be so lucky to pay that.
For just,
her-
do you take her for like checkups?
Yeah,
How often?
once a year.
Hmm.
And
We're
she
all
got her.
about vets getting paid. It's just rough.
Yeah, no.
Rough.
Rough.
To
See
get
what I
her
did there?
teeth cleaned, and they didn't even they found an infected tooth, and they didn't even take it out or fix it. They literally just brushed her teeth basically with her under
When
anesthesia.
they take it out?
Yeah. Oh, sure. Totally. I'll send it to you.
Oh my God.
Good reminder. Friends don't let friends not keep
Throw
the
away
teeth.
Friends don't let friends throw away teeth. New merch.
It was $800 to have her teeth cleaned.
Oh my God.
And they
No.
did she
Did she
stay
fix her
overnight?
broken tooth? No.
Was she put under?
Yes.
Mm.
There you go.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But still.
That's wild. Yeah.
Well, next bullet point, Americans pay a lot for their furry friends, reaching a total of $31.4 billion for vet visits, pet insurance, and animal products, so like food and shit in 2020.
Wow. Yeah.
31.4 billion.
Callie's dog food, I did buy like the big bags, but it was like $70 a bag.
Oh, yeah. The dog food's expensive, and now we have like even more expensive dog food. And I'm not going to say the name of it because I want them to become a sponsor because they make a really good product. But it's not cheap.
dog?
No, it's
Oh my God, you just said it. John, bleep that.
Ray has a daily barf issue, so I got him like better food for like digestion, and it's really expensive.
Yeah.
But he throws
We
up
need to-
less.
We
Yeah.
need to change Pepperoni's dry food, I think, because she's getting a little pukey. She's just about turning 8, so it's like time to start rethinking
She's
the
getting
diet.
up there.
Yeah, I mean, not up there dramatically, but up there enough.
Middle
that-
age.
Yeah, her dietary needs might be shifting. So
Vets in Houston, Texas make the most with an average of 6-figure salaries. Only 6% of all veterinarians specialize in horses. Thank God.
probably a lot of them here.
Do you guys follow that animal chiropractor on TikTok?
no,
A little bit.
Oh, he's so cool.
Oh, no,
He
I'm thinking of someone else. I'm thinking of the emu gal.
I love.
Oh, Knuckle Bump Farms. They're so cute. This animal chiropractor, he can do like adjustments on like snakes and cats and horses
That's wild.
and goats and dogs.
Snakes are only backs.
I know. It's like,
The
it's
fuck?
bizarre. It's so cool.
It's just like one of those workout ropes.
Yeah.
CrossFit.
Fuck.
All right.
Woo, Doc, that felt great.
Both these snakes are done.
I'm gonna need you to send me some snake adjustment videos.
Okay.
Immediately
I will.
during Kenyan segment.
You got it. Over 3,200 vets received employment from the U.S. government in just 2018. Typically, government roles, including caring for agricultural animals. So like we talked about, they will prevent, for example, like sick chickens from being shipped into the chicken market or whatever.
In theory,
Yeah,
theory.
you'd hope. We're looking at you, Tyson.
chicken nugget crimes, pilgrim's pride.
Pink
Ugh.
slime. Also,
God, it's so delicious.
looking after exotic animals and zoo animals. So any kind of animal that requires supervision from the state. So those vets are employed by the government. Also, almost 80% of practicing veterinarians are females.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You don't say.
Oh.
So this last part, it was just strictly because I was curious, and I found it bizarre.
Okay.
So when I was researching this, I got a little bit preoccupied thinking about how the fuck a vet performs surgery on a fish.
Sure.
So here is some information on how that works.
I
Okay.
did not know that was a thing. I'm sorry to all the fish owners, but I would have just thought If a
If it needs surgery, then
Well, this
SARS.
goes for
give her a
sharks,
flush.
whales, big fish,
Okay.
zoo
Yep.
fish.
Oh, okay. Whales, yeah. Okay.
But
that makes
also-
sense.
I was definitely picturing a surgeon operating on one of like the sad betta fish from
Yeah.
PetSmart.
Oh, if you
Which,
go
like-
to my folder, which will be on the drive, those are the pictures because people who care a lot about their fucking goldfish will go have them
Which is
worked
great.
on.
If you have the money to do that, and if you don't, maybe don't get pets.
Or like those
Yeah.
koi fish that live forever and they're like big
Mhm.
and you can like pet them.
Yeah, koi fish are fucking amazing. They're little water dogs. They're so cool.
Yeah. So a lot of people have, kind of important fish, I guess.
Yeah.
So just like people, cats and dogs just like people, cats and dogs are sedated for surgery. So are fish.
Wow.
So rather than using an aerosol anesthetic, so any kind of air,
Mhm.
fish are sedated using a water-based anesthetic. So they put the anesthesia into the water with the fish in like a
This
smaller
is
tank.
fascinating. It's like a sack on there. I'm looking at
Yeah.
this surgery picture you put up, and the fish is a koi. It's like a big koi goldfish, and it clearly has a growth, and it's in like a water sack with like a slit in the top so she can access the growth.
You know what it looks
Clearly,
like?
the fish is under anesthesia in the water. This is so fucking
It
cool.
looks like when you like buy those like feet masks from
Right,
Sephora.
baby feet.
Baby feet. And you stick them, the plastic, and your foot's in the
It
middle.
really does.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow, this is fascinating.
Isn't this cool? So, recovery using clean water. So once they're done with the surgery, they'll put them in a small tank with just clean water, and they're usually up and returned to normal within
it
10 to
wears
30
off.
minutes.
That's
Wow.
For simple external procedures, so an example of this would be like removing a growth, but also, those goldfish that have like the big lumpy crowns on their heads sometimes?
Yeah.
So those grow over time and they can grow over their eyes.
Yeah.
So a lot of people have them like removed or trimmed back, kind of. I don't get the deal with the lumpy things.
Mm-hmm.
But that's like a really common surgery.
Wow.
So for a simple external procedure such as that, the fish will lie on one side with the surgical site up in the air.
Yep.
Usually they have an assistant or a net hold the fish partially submerged in the medicine water.
Mm-hmm.
For open abdomen procedures, they have a specialty crafted acrylic V-shaped like dish that fits over a 10-gallon aquarium. An aquarium pump moves water from the reservoir below through a tube in the fish's mouth, which then flows over their gills and then back down. So there
Wow.
are some procedures where they have to be totally out of the water.
Intubated,
But they're
basically.
intubated so the medicine water goes through their gills.
This is amazing. I
know.
had no
Never
clue.
would have even thought to look it up.
So it's like a closed circulation system, and then there is always a tech or somebody else there to like sponge water to keep their actual scales moist this whole time also, since they're not submerged.
How good does it sound to be in the anesthetic water sack?
Deprivation sack.
Yes.
Can you imagine
As a bathtub person, yeah, that sounds real nice.
going to like one of those float rooms, but it's all anesthetic water?
Mm-hmm.
But you're like kind of out of it the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yep. So this person will also monitor the fish's heart rate and gill movement to make sure that it's like
Breathing.
alive.
That's amazing.
It's important to maintain the aeration of the anesthetic solution or oxygenization because you don't want too much medicine in there, and you
Right.
also want to make sure that the water is also delivering the oxygen.
Right.
Yeah.
That you don't want to suffocate the fish.
Got to keep it flowing.
So it's a delicate balance.
That's wild. My mind is fucking blown.
So the fish should fast for 24 to 48 hours prior to the procedure.
Oh, that's the worst part. At least it doesn't have to drink the colonoscopy juice.
Yeah.
Oh God, poor buddy.
The lights should be dimmed in their recovery tank, and be aware that they might regurgitate their food during recovery, so it's best to have them in a separate tank during this time because they might throw up, and not in their resident tank
Okay.
Which you might think to just throw them back in there because, yeah, that's healthy, unmedicated water. But no, you should keep them in their own little dark little room
They need
for
a
a little
little
bit.
halfy to come
Yeah.
to.
Wow.
So that is my segment.
That's amazing.
Wow.
Mostly
I'm so
my own
glad
curiosity.
you went there. Holy buckets.
Yeah.
Well
So
done.
cool.
There you have it.
Very nice.
Thanks.
Cool. So, my case is a little wild.
I'm so excited.
A little wild.
A little wild.
And I'm excited. Okay. Also, we can do some Texas accents
Oh, good.
if we want.
I'm home again.
Like slipping into a warm bath.
A warm anesthetic. Soft.
Fish surgery tank.
Yum. A recovery tank.
My recovery tank.
Just like like that. They're describing one of those float rooms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is how I'm going to refer to my baths. I'm going to be slipping into my recovery tank.
Time for surgery.
Do not pester me
Keep
for
my
3 to
gills
6
wet.
hours. Yep.
Keep me intubated.
Check on the aeration of my water.
Gluck, gluck. Okay. So,
Click, click, click. We've lost it. Okay.
Wendy Mae Davidson is a lifelong Texan woman.
Wendy Mae.
Wendy Mae, who was born and raised in San Angelo, Texas. And I did not have time to look on a map to see where
Great.
the fuck that is.
That's
Doesn't
fine.
matter.
Okay. Texas is a big place, y'all. So she received a veterinarian degree from Texas A&M University and eventually went on to set up her own veterinary practice back home in San Angelo, wherever the fuck that's at.
Okay.
On January 15th, 2005, Wendy called the police to report that her husband, Michael Severance, was missing.
Oh, no. What a name.
Severance.
My severance
What a
is missing.
name. I'm missing my severance.
She was looking for a severance check, I'll tell you what. Has everybody watched the show Severance?
Oh, yeah.
So good.
She good.
Lucy, you have to watch it. You would really
When's
like
season
it.
2 coming out?
I don't know.
I feel
I
like I
need it.
did watch it.
You'd know if you did.
would, yeah, you got to watch it. It's on
Is it
Apple.
kind of like Succession?
No, it's nothing like Succession.
then I
It's
think I'm
nothing
just
like
getting them mixed
anything
up.
you've ever watched before.
It's
Okay.
And you would like it. Okay.
It's amazing.
Perfect.
It's with Adam Scott.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Wendy Mae and Michael
Wendy Mae.
had not been married long. They had met at a bar in 2003 and began a whirlwind romance and tied the knot within just a year.
Oh, kids.
I have seen Severance. It's about the work environment, the
Yes.
work people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's good.
So Wendy had one son from a previous marriage, and then the couple welcomed their first child together, a son named Shane.
Okay.
Which
Shine.
choices were made. And on that January morning, so January 15th, 2005, the family had planned to depart for Maine, my home state, to
Forgot about that.
to visit Michael's side of the family. So they had they just got
Michael.
married, they're having the baby, they had the baby, and now they're gonna go
They're doing their
visit-
tour.
Yeah.
Of
Showing the baby.
Their tour of happiness.
So a little bit more about Michael. He was an Air Force staff sergeant who was about to be deployed for his 6th tour of duty in the Middle East.
Jesus.
Dang.
So this was his last chance before deployment to...
Did you misunderstand vet?
No, she's a vet. I already covered it. They're both vets. Double vet.
Okay.
Veterinarian?
She is a veterinarian. I already covered it. She
Yes.
opened her own veterinary clinic.
I
and
know.
He is
and
a
he's just a
vitamin.
vet.
I love this.
Okay.
Okay.
Got it.
She's a vet.
Gaslighting Kenyon is a
Veterinarian.
favorite game of mine.
I said it twice.
I said it.
Twice.
Double vet.
Double
Okay.
vet.
So this was his last chance to see his side of the family, have them meet the new baby Shane, all this stuff before he's deployed. So they're supposed to leave that day. Wendy reports Michael missing. And originally, this was just to the San Angelo Police Department, and they're the only ones searching for him like any other missing person. But that investigation turns up no leads. Then, when the scheduled date for Michael's deployment rolls around, which I think is within like a month, I don't know exactly the timeline, but very soon thereafter, he's supposed to report for duty for this deployment, and he's still missing.
Yeah, because that was his last chance.
So he became officially considered AWOL, and now the U.S. military begins searching for him as well as just the PD.
Got it.
So the military's Office of Special Investigations, OSI, took the lead in the investigation, originally working under the assumption that Michael had deserted in order to avoid being sent to the Middle East again.
Ah, okay.
Although I feel like if you're a staff sergeant and you've been deployed 5 times,
That many times, yeah.
you probably aren't that likely to go AWOL for the 6th, but who knows? Everybody's different, right?
Everyone has their limits.
Yep. You don't know what happened in previous deployments. So the military, if you're AWOL, they're going to find you. So under this logic, the military receives clearance to place a tracking device on Wendy's car, unbeknownst to her, reasoning that if he is AWOL, he might be hiding out somewhere, and she might be
know.
assisting him.
Bringing
And
him snacks.
Right. Magazines.
Okay.
And tracking her movements would then lead them to him.
Sure.
The military did indeed discover some suspicious movements, but it wasn't what they had been suspecting.
Oh, golly. Okay.
Wendy was regularly visiting a remote property called the Four Sevens Ranch, but
The Four Seasons.
The Four Seasons Ranch. The Four Sevens. I'll have a 7 and 7. 2 more. Thank you. But it didn't seem to be on veterinary business. The OSI and the San Angelo police, then working together, searched Wendy's home and her vet clinic, because she's a fucking veterinarian.
Wait, what? I didn't catch that.
Which at first turned up nothing of interest. But when they searched her computer, they found several suspicious searches in her fucking browser history.
Y'all clear your cookies.
Or don't.
I mean, do if you commit a crime.
True.
They'll still find it, though, so.
Yeah.
They always will.
Yeah.
Forensic computer, whatever is nuts.
Clearing your
Nailed
cookies is only useful when you have to, like, buy a flight.
This is what libraries are for. You go.
Different IP address. Got it.
Okay.
But now don't they make you log in
have to
using
log
your
in.
library ID? Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
They've
I
cracked
think it's been that way
down.
for a while.
It has, yeah.
See, I'm just not committing enough crimes lately.
Catch up.
So they found several suspicious searches in her browser history, including one for, quote, decomposition of a body in water.
It's fine. She has a podcast.
I have a tab open that's acid to dissolve a body right now.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
They
So-
know me.
They know. I'm a regular. So when Wendy was questioned by police about this suspicious search, she claimed she had done these searches out of morbid curiosity
Yeah.
as the search for her husband dragged on, and she came to worry that he might be dead. So she said, like, I was freaked out. I thought my husband was dead. He's been missing. And so I was curious, I guess, what would be happening to his body if he was in a body of water,
Sure.
I guess. I mean, I can't rule it out that I wouldn't do the same thing.
I
Of
get it.
course.
So after this police interview, Wendy, though, calls her brother, Marshall Davidson, who worked as a game warden in town. And she confesses to her brother that on the morning of January 15th, she had found her husband dead in the living room. This is her story. This is obviously not what happened.
Sure.
Found him dead in the living room, panicked, and decided to dispose of his body by dumping it into a pond at the Four Sevens Ranch.
The Four Seasons Landscape Company.
Four Seasons Landscaping. Marshall, again, he's a game warden. So apparently that's an officer of the law.
Oh, yeah, that's a
Oh,
cop.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So he told his sister, Wendy, like, dude, I'm a cop. You shouldn't have told me this.
Told me this.
I have a duty
Mandated
to...
reporter.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So first he looped in their parents and they held like the most awkward family meeting
Zoom
of all
call.
time.
I can't hear you. I can see you. I think you're muted.
Move your... I can just see your forehead.
All right. Well, Wendy's a murderer.
Yeah. Wendy killed Michael, but we still want to see that baby boy Shane. So when are you coming round?
I'm not going to turn her in till after she come around. So, last chance. The Shane Express is leaving the station.
Oh my God, Shane.
Sweet baby Shane.
Imagine looking at a newborn baby and saying, Shane.
I have a good friend named Shane who definitely listens to this show, so we should back
Well,
off.
do their parents
I'm
listen to
sure.
the show?
I'm sure people have opinions about my name. I can have opinions about theirs.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
Hi, Shane.
hi Shane.
Sorry,
Hi,
Shane.
hi, sweet baby boy Shane.
Sweet baby
Sweet
Shane.
baby boy. So police. Okay, so Marshall, the brother, like has hosts this awkward family meeting, but then he still does his duty and calls the police and reports everything that Wendy confessed to him. So police now have reasonable suspicion to search the 4-7's ranch, and there they find Michael's decomposing body in a pond. And at this point, it's been 2 months since his death and him going missing.
Yuck.
So Wendy is taken into custody, but fucking somehow, and I do not understand how,
Her brother's a cop.
released from jail on bond.
There it is.
Yep.
So then, when she's out awaiting trial, the toxicology report on Michael's body comes in.
Oh no, is this damning evidence?
Evidence.
Evidence.
Is it gonna be damning?
It's pretty damning.
Oh.
So this revealed that he had died from poisoning by a large dose of animal tranquilizers.
And she's a vet.
Mm-hmm.
As we've
Double
mentioned-
vet.
Double vet. As we've mentioned before, she is a veterinarian.
Mm.
So Wendy obviously would have had easy access to animal tranks at the
Mhm.
clinic.
Mhm.
And this was determined to have been his cause of death, although 41 stab wounds had been inflicted on his body post-mortem.
Ooh.
Sir.
She was pissed.
I thought that at first too, that she tranked him and then was pissed. But actually, why else would you stab someone post-mortem
To make it
To
look like
not-
a stabbing and not a poisoning.
if you were going to throw them into a body of water?
Oh, so they get waterlogged and do sink to the bottom,
Fish food.
fill with water.
To release the gases
Yeah.
so that they
Oh.
don't.
That's smart bitch.
They don't float.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a doctor. She knows.
She's
My girl.
tossed some remains into water before.
Well, she Googled
It's sounding sketchy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah,
I like
I
that
knew
a lot.
Lucy. You would. Yeah, you've
I like that.
Lucy has told us time and time again. You gotta.
Get
So
the gases out.
the counties.
Wendy, you bad girl.
I mean, we are not defending what this woman did. Like, she's a psycho. She murdered her husband and the father of her
Not
child.
defending what she
Right.
did. I would never do it. But if I
Yeah.
were to do it,
Right.
S'more.
You do it
Smart.
right.
mm-hmm.
So the counties.
And don't tell your brother. He's a
Yeah.
cop.
Yeah, don't tell the fucking game warden, okay? So the county's justice of the peace at the time stated, quote, "These were post-mortem cuts to allow the release of gases that typically accumulate in decomposing bodies. Rage is hitting, stabbing, or poking in one spot or like one general area because you're just going again and again and again.
She's like poking a baked
This was
potato before
everywhere.
sticking it
Yes.
in the microwave so it don't
Yeah.
explode.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
So rage hit
Yeah.
is more localized. Quote, "These were spread out." Like
When you want a baked potato, but you only have 10 minutes, you poke it, you put it in the microwave, you lather it in butter and all, and you're good to go.
Poke your hot dogs too.
Mhm.
I always be poked.
So when police searched Wendy's veterinary clinic, they found no tranquilizers, which is suspicious in and of itself. It's like the absence of the tranquilizers was more suspicious.
Evidence.
The house was too clean.
She got rid of it.
Well, she
Smelled
got
like bleach.
also like a vet should have some tranquilizers on
Exactly.
hand. So like, what have you done with all your tranquilizers?
It's a safety issue.
Yeah.
Oh, put him in your husband's body.
So then,
Hey.
when searching the clinic's records, they found something even stranger. A file recording that Wendy had administered a massive dose of tranquilizers to a chihuahua.
Okay, so she's bad at her accounting. She was trying to cover why she needed to use it, but the choice of animal was extremely dumb.
Yeah, at least go with a big dog or a cow or something.
The file claimed that this was prescribed to treat the dog's seizures, but the prescription was for an amount that would have undoubtedly killed the animal. In this file, police believe they had found proof that Wendy was falsifying records in order to smuggle tranquilizers out of the building unnoticed. She was then charged with first-degree murder and 2 counts of tampering with evidence. Police believe that her motive for killing Michael was money.
Michael.
But this part is like really sad. She would have known that military officials had a $100,000 life insurance policy, which like is not.
It's not enough to kill your husband over.
No.
Sorry. It's just not.
It's not even in 2005.
Also, like, if he was like a sergeant or whatever who's been over there 6 times, his retirement's gonna be sweet, and he's going away anyway. You're not gonna have to deal with
He's more
him.
valuable to you.
Yeah.
He's more valuable
Yeah.
to you alive as a military.
He's going away
person.
anyway.
He's going away. She's moving anyway.
Yeah, he's
I
about
don't-
to be gone for like 8 months or a
Just
year.
cheat.
And there's an
Just
outside
cheat or
chance
just
that
get
he won't come
divorced.
back anyway.
I mean, that's sad, but sure, yes, it's
Oh my
2005.
God,
It was a
Lucy.
very dangerous time to be deployed.
I'm saying the truth.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm saying that this motivation is stupid.
Wendy
If this
May is not the brightest. She knew about the gases, but otherwise she's not the brightest.
the fact that the gas thing was actually pretty smart, but then the chihuahua, the motive, the telling the brother.
The tranquilizers.
Yeah, she did. Yeah.
She didn't know what she was doing.
Okay. I like her less now.
So after she was charged, Wendy's defense attorneys filed a motion to suppress any evidence that had been gained from the tracker that the military had put on her car, which they claimed had been illegally done. But like, good luck winning that lawsuit against the U.S.
The
fucking
military.
military.
Exactly. Yeah, you're done.
So
You're done.
the San Angelo police would have needed to get a court order before they would be allowed to use such a tactic. But the defense argued that because Michael was officially declared AWOL, all that mattered was that the military officials had permission to place the tracker, and they did. So the judge agreed that the evidence from the tracker had been obtained legally and ruled in favor of the prosecution. Wendy maintained her innocence, insisting that although she had inflicted the stab wounds post-mortem and disposed of Michael's body in the pond, she denied that she killed him.
Okay. Oh, yeah, because the story she had told her brother is, I found him, I freaked out, I put him in the pond.
Right.
Okay. That's not
Why would you freak out? If you
call 911?
Yeah.
Your brother's a cop.
Yeah.
call 911, you're like a newlywed with a new baby. No one's going to think you did it unless you fucking did it.
She pull him into her car and drive him to a pond and then dump his body in the pond. Like, I panicked.
Literal dead weight. Like, you have so many opportunities to change your mind in that process.
Jesus.
No.
However, when she was informed that she was facing up to 99 years in prison if found guilty by a jury, she decided to take a deal and plead no contest to both the murder and the evidence tampering charges, for which she was then sentenced to 25 years in prison.
Wow. Okay.
That's
Damn.
not a lot for murder
No.
and
It's
like
not.
repeated concealment.
Yeah, I don't think that it was enough time, and I think she benefited from being a woman.
And her brother being a cop.
Since then, Wendy has continued to maintain her innocence, even though she literally confessed and then pled no contest. Did it, confessed, and pled no contest.
Google searced it.
Planned
Well,
it.
we can't put that much stock in the Google
She
search.
doesn't have a podcast. She doesn't know.
I don't know. I think I was Googling
Yeah.
that weird shit before we started this.
You were. This is
You're
why
different.
we thought of doing the podcast.
Right.
In 2022, she was interviewed from prison by ABC's 2020. She purported to give her side of the story, describing how in the weeks leading up to his disappearance, he was growing increasingly stressed about his upcoming deployment, and she claims turned to alcohol and other substances to cope with his anxiety, and that he was drinking by the afternoon on most days.
So you better murder him.
Right. So, like, here, I don't know what she's going for here. If she's trying to say,
He was changing.
He was being a
becoming
bad
more
father, so I
volatile,
took him
he's
out of the picture
drinking.
completely.
but she's still claiming her innocence. So, what are you trying to say here? Are you trying to say that he died by
Deserves it?
drinking?
It sounds like she's an idiot and
Yeah.
is trying to do two things. Say she's innocent and also lay the foundation for a potential
victim
like
blaming.
victim blaming
Yeah.
and like self-defense
Yeah.
and blah blah blah.
Right. But you can't do both those things at the same time.
No, honey.
So, also, there's been no evidence to corroborate this, and Michael's family has stated that he never had a substance abuse problem.
That ain't it, girl.
In the interview, Wendy also describes finding her husband's body and deciding to dispose of it, recounting how, quote, I had to take these weights and I'm trying to tie them onto his body. And of course, it's the middle of the night, can't hardly see.
Oh,
I knew air
hardly
made
wait.
bodies float, so I decided to make holes in the body, vent holes, so that the air could escape.
Vent
I-
holes.
wow. She just said that on 2020.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Damn. Bold.
So yeah, when you're tying weights to your husband's dead body,
And then stabbing him to get baked potato valves.
that's not panic in the
No.
moment, heat of the moment.
No, it is not.
Let me just go
No,
get
no,
my
no.
Bala ankle weights.
She would never waste those. Those are
I
expensive.
was gonna say. Exactly
She would
what I was
never.
gonna say. Those are expensive.
They are unreasonably expensive.
And then
They're
you're
just
like, do
prettier
I
than regular ankle weights.
do I use them on my wrists today? Do I use them on my ankles today? I don't want to buy another set.
Guess I'll attach them to my dead husband.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
So again, she continues to maintain that she did not kill Michael, stating, quote, I did what I did. I think it was horrible. I think I made a bad choice. There were better choices to be made,
You don't say.
but I still didn't kill him. Yeah, right, bitch. Okay.
Okay.
In 2019, Wendy came up for parole, but she was denied. She is currently scheduled to be released, not paroled, but released
Right.
from
25 years.
Gatesville Correctional Facility in 2031.
Damn.
Wow.
Well, it's coming up.
There you go. So be careful which vets you marry.
Shit.
Yikes. Don't double vet.
Don't never double vet. Always vet before you double vet.
Yes. Vet your vets.
Wow. That was wild.
Yeah, that was cool.
Loved it.
Good job.
I mean, hated it, but loved it. Are y'all ready for my case?
I
Yes.
don't know, but
I'm
I'm excited.
I'm
I
so
might not
excited.
be ready.
This case is absolutely bizarre and might be one of the strangest and most like Agatha Christie-esque stories I have ever covered.
Excellent.
Kathleen Marshall was born in Brisbane, Queensland, Australia. Brisbane in 1946. I don't know.
You went straight
I don't know.
potato farmer
know.
with
I
that
don't
second
know
part.
where that
I don't know. Her love of animals, particularly felines, put her on the path to veterinary school, and in 1968, at 22 years old, she graduated with honors from the University of Queensland with a degree in veterinary science.
Did she graduate with honors?
Honor. Oh, that's cute. That's cute.
Kenyon.
She immediately started
That
working
was
as...
a first.
Oh, okay. Oh, you just made me
Nailed it.
sick. Puns are the lowest form of comedy. Okay.
We will dig the bottom of that barrel.
I will
Absolutely.
dredge.
Scrape it. She immediately started working as a vet in already established practices, but eventually opened her own practice specializing in cat care, buying a building in Brisbane that she converted into a vet clinic on the first floor and her living quarters on the second floor.
Oh, God, she could live there.
Yep. She was loved in her community and very involved in matters of the animal world as well as matters of the heart.
Aw.
Involved. Okay.
We'll get to it.
Okay.
She spent her free time serving as the president of the Cat Protection Society of Queensland, and it is now that I would like to direct you to the drive to see a photo of her surrounded by cats
Yes.
that easily could be Lucy.
Oh, my God.
Even the glass.
They're all
Is she
so
a nice
young.
lady? Tell me she's a nice lady.
I mean, I like her,
Look at
Okay.
the orange
tell
one
you
in
that.
the middle.
but it's more complicated than that, Kenyon.
She
and-
looks, I would trust her with my life.
Of course.
Oh,
At least your
God.
cat's life.
I want a table full of kittens.
I know, that's like Lucy's heaven right there in that photo. She also founded a networking club called Friends of the Vet School at University of Queensland. And my personal favorite anecdote about her, affairs of the heart, she liked to organize social dinners for single professionals
Oh, my God.
to like connect them so they could date. She was divorced.
So cute. She
So
was
honestly, I find her so charming and adorable. She's the cutest. But on the morning of March 1st, 1998, 2 members of the Cat Protection Society arrived at her home for a meeting, and the door was unlocked.
The cats are humans.
People who are members of the Cat Protection Society.
Well,
Not
okay.
clients, members.
Members.
Okay.
Every time you say Cat Protection Society, I'm picturing like people in like long black trench coats.
I mean,
Like-
it's
Protecting cats.
Yeah.
an intense society, so I wouldn't be surprised if they had trench
Coats.
coats.
Like what? Like the movie that we went to for Scott's birthday party that one year?
Matrix?
No.
That's the only long black trench coat movie I know.
Men in Black.
I'll think of it. Janine Garofalo's in it.
Oh, Mystery Men.
Mystery Men.
Oh,
We did. Yeah, we went to the drive-in theater for that shit.
Yeah.
That was awful.
We're so
Terrible
old.
movie.
Terrible
Okay.
movie.
Okay. Okay. So they show up for this already scheduled meeting, and the door is unlocked, which they assumed was intentional, so they could just go in and go upstairs, and not have to be let in by Kathleen. But when they made their way
Kathleen.
upstairs,
She should go by Kathleen.
Kathleen. Cat.
Cat.
But when they went upstairs, they noticed that the 16 cats and 3 dogs she was caring for, many of which were her pets, were unfed and clearly distressed.
Oh no.
Kathleen was nowhere to be found. So they made their way downstairs to check the clinic, finding blood all over the door to an exam room and a strong smell of decay.
That was just the cats. In
It's just the
fairness, it's kind of the same smell.
It's not
pretty
at
different.
all
It was
the
a
same
joke.
smell.
I knew Lucy would get her.
Actually,
Very distinct.
gonna stop you right there.
I take umbrage to that.
Is that how you take umbrage now?
Umbrage.
So Kathleen's body was in the exam room, and she had 52 shallow stab wounds across her face, head, arms, chest, and abdomen.
Were they trying to put vent holes in the body?
Was
No.
she
Too
being
shallow.
potatoed?
Shallow
Shallow.
wounds. No murder weapon was ever recovered. The folks who discovered her called the police, and an investigation began, diving into the tumultuous world of the Cat Protection Society, Queensland. The investigation began by assessing the scene. It was determined that the time of death was sometime on Friday, February 27th, 1998, before 3 p.m. This estimate of the time of death was based on entomologist Russell Luke's analysis of maggots found on Kathleen Marshall's body.
I love this case.
Witnesses who were near the scene on Friday, February 27th, out for an evening walk around 7 p.m., reported hearing a single scream from the building. So that like before 3 p.m. time might not be super accurate, but it's like we know it happened sometime on this day.
Yeah.
So they heard a single scream, allegedly, with no continued screaming or view of like a suspect fleeing the scene.
Okay.
Kathleen also failed to show up for one of her singles dinners that she had scheduled, which was incredibly uncharacteristic of her. Investigators then began tracking down and interviewing any known associates of Kathleen Marshall. Considering the fact that the door was unlocked for the folks who discovered the body, and it was believed that Kathleen's killer was someone that she knew, as there were no signs of forced entry. This is a quote from Crime Magazine. The police investigation initially focused on members of the CPSQ, where power struggles and infighting had been a common occurrence, intensifying during the 6 months before 52-year-old Marshall's death.
Gosh.
In April, however, Ken Cox, a forensic biologist from the John Tonga Center, announced that he had found male blood in the crime scene samples. Investigators decided to investigate every male person involved in the deceased's life, beginning with the male members of the CPSQ,
The Cat Protection Society of Queensland.
and any male connected to a female member.
Was it cat blood?
No.
They're saying
They
human
were
blood.
Able to determine.
Didn't say
It's
human, it just said
1998, so
male.
they couldn't get like a full DNA profile in the way we can get it now, but they were able to determine that this was a blood sample from a human man.
Okay.
So it's apparently there was some bad blood between members of the CPSQ, especially from member Virginia Houston, Kathleen's next door neighbor, and a woman who carried deep resentment toward Kathleen for her status in the society.
Okay, I will just say, have any of you been to a professional cat show?
What do you think?
Can't say I have.
Haven't had the pleasure.
Yeah.
So there's one that comes around every year called the Hawkeye State Cat Show. So I've been a few times, and
So I have a yearly attachment.
those bitches are crazy. They're fucking nuts.
This is the second time this week, and we're recording on a Tuesday, that I have been a part or listened to a podcast about infighting within cat protection societies.
Yep.
And it's a
common.
completely different case. Like, I listened to like a Planet Money episode about somebody who like
Oh, we'll get to the money, honey.
They're nuts.
died and like left a trust fund for like cats, and then the
Really common.
I think the cat people are even crazier than dog people
They
in terms of
you
like
think? You
showing.
fucking think?
Think of like Best in Show.
yeah.
No, those kinds of people are always a little bit crazy, but the cat people I think skew.
Also,
Yes.
I would say
Crazier.
that regular cat people, the spectrum of crazy for cats
It's
is
vast.
narrower, so that everyone on that spectrum isn't as far away from the edge. Whereas the spectrum for dog people, it's like a completely different breed between like
Hi, I see what you did there.
us who get, like whatever rescue mutt
Sure.
and love on it for its
Yeah.
life versus Best in Show.
My
Yeah.
fur babies.
I can see that. Cat
So-
people are just more enthusiastic about their animals in general.
Sure, maybe, or just unhinged. Anyway, Virginia, described by the press, and not my words, as a, quote, 45-year-old invalid pensioner, was
no.
only connected to Kathy through their mutual love of cats. That mutual love was not enough for the two to get along, according to Virginia.
No.
She told the Sydney Morning Herald that, quote, Kathleen Marshall was a very spiteful person, a very nasty and very vindictive person.
Tell us how you really feel, Virginia.
With the Herald noting the, quote, venom dripping in her voice.
She's talking
The
about
Sunday
her
Herald is
dead
my
neighbor.
It's, this
I didn't
publication.
kill her, but I'm glad she's dead.
Exactly. I pulled
didn't kill
so
that
many quotes.
dumb bitch.
It's so good. So Virginia had been acting treasurer of the CPSQ for years before Kathleen took over as president and held a vote on whether to keep Virginia in the position. the 42-2 vote ousted Virginia.
You know she voted. She was one of the two.
Yep.
And her
Who
husband.
Yeah.
No, she wasn't married.
Oh.
No. Who walked away from the job with her tail between her legs. I gave you one. Virginia's only diehard supporter, 68-year-old Corinne Welsh,
There we
had
go.
lost her board re-election months prior.
So she also had a bone to pick.
So Virginia had nobody to bat for her. She claims, quote, she wanted to get rid of me and make the society a nice little vehicle for her to get a regular income. Virginia
The
claimed.
audacity.
Yep. She even confronted Kathleen in a heated exchange demanding access to CPSQ financial records, which she claimed she was legally entitled to, but was instead escorted off the grounds of Kathleen's home empty-handed.
Oh!
There had been pushing and shoving in this exchange.
Whoa.
Escorted
They
off the
threw
ground.
fisticuffs.
Claws were out.
Claws out.
Cat
fight. Literal cat fight.
So stupid.
Virginia was salty that under Kathleen's leadership, Kathleen felt strongly that veterinarians involved in the society, including herself, should be compensated for the often substantial hours of work they did treating injured and unwell felines. What a terrible take.
Mm-hmm.
These vets should be paid. Victoria disagreed and felt that Kathleen was just going for a money grab. And to Kenyon's point earlier, like, they are managing pretty sizable amounts of money because most people involved in this club, which we'll get to, are elderly single women, and they leave their estate to this cat society to be liquidated and used to fund the society. So there's often like substantial amounts of money that are being handled by the treasurer. So
They got a lot of scratch.
they have a lot of scratch. A lot of scratch. Further investigation revealed that Kathleen expressed fear and anxiety in the months leading up to her brutal murder, that she was concerned she was being stalked, and that she had received nasty messages. Virginia staunchly denied sending those messages or any stalking, but did admit that she would drive by the home to see if meetings were being held. Quote, it wasn't as though I was following her around or anything like that, she told the Herald.
I already knew where she lived, so
She's
I
my
didn't have to.
Yeah. And Virginia wasn't the only society member, which consisted of about 70 mostly elderly women, LOL shocking, who had mixed feelings about their new leadership. Again, from the Sydney Morning Herald, my new favorite publication, quote, most people thought she meant well and certainly worked hard for the welfare of cats and to get the society functioning properly, said one member who chose to remain anonymous, probably in fear of death. But she could be
scared of
I'm scared of these cat people. Quote, but she could be quite rude. She would call you late at night about this or that, and she would say she didn't care if you were asleep.
Oh my God.
It's just old ladies complaining. It's like, she would call me after 6 p.m. I've been asleep for hours.
This is Virginia, the bitchy neighbor who
No,
calls.
this is someone else who is making comments about Kathleen being rude.
Kathleen would call and be rude.
Would call, according to this
she had
anonymous,
vital
cranky old person.
Cat Protection Society of Queensland business to attend to.
Exactly. Legal representation for the CPSQ, as well as those close to Kathleen, maintained that, quote, she was a passionate believer in causes and she would marshal all of her resources for the sake of those creatures. Virginia was ultimately ruled out as a suspect, mostly because her physical state left her incapable of carrying out such an act. And as the Herald said, quote, the only witnesses are some of Marshall's 14 cats, and they're not talking. But what if it wasn't anyone in the society? Rather, someone on the outskirts. Ooh. The investigation expanded to include men connected to the women who were in the CPSQ. Mm-hmm. Everyone interviewed was willing to give a blood sample. Everyone but one man. 50-year-old Andrew Fitzpervert.
Fitz pervert.
I watched Bridget Jones' Diary on a plane recently and could not believe this name popped up in my case.
Is that the name of the gross coworker?
Yes, Fitzpervert, Fitzpervert, Fitzherbert, Fitzherbert.
I forgot about that.
Fitzpervert. Movie holds up. Don't quote me on that.
It does not. Oh my
It super
God.
does it. It
The
super
fat
does it.
phobia is.
It's so bad.
She's like a size 12, and she's like, I'm 30 years old and an old fat
Not even.
spinster.
Yeah,
She's
she's
like
barely a size 12.
130 pounds.
Ridiculous.
I can
Everyone
eat
can-
130 pounds of burst burgers in
I
one
haven't weighed
sitting.
130 pounds since middle school. Everyone
I don't think I have
either.
either. Yeah. So again, from Crime Magazine, oh my God, quote, palm reader and spiritualist Andrew Fitzherbert was the partner of Ruth Bennett, a recent CPSQ member. He also practiced palmistry at the Windsor Spiritualist Church, frequented by Virginia Houston, the chief suspect in the early stages of the investigation.
She got her palm reader from church to kill her cat
to run a hit.
society nemesis.
Maybe.
I'm going with that.
Maybe. Who was the chief suspect in the early stages of the investigation?
Lucy
Isn't
has
this
a best
amazing?
friend psychic.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Lucy is
shit.
kind of Virginia. And there is a picture of Virginia on the drive as well, holding up her black cat who looks a little like Ghostface.
Oh.
Yep. That's
Looks
Lucy.
nothing
and
like Ghostface, but I'll let
it's
it
a black
slide.
cat. You know, it's like there's a similarity. Chief suspect in the early stages of the investigation due to her tempestuous relationship with Marshall. The Age, another publication, described Andrew Fitzherbert in a 1999 article as, quote, a pacifist and nonviolent eccentric of whom nobody had a bad word to say. He appeared in the witness box to be a mild-mannered, bumbling bookseller straight out of Central Casting.
Now we've got Notting Hill involved. There's a lot happening. A lot of
He could-
throwbacks.
Also, they just don't write things like they did in the 90s. They just didn't
It's
care
probably
about
for the
anyone's
best.
feelings. Yeah. Or being PC or
It
anything.
was a lot more descriptive than today.
More editorializing.
Yeah.
Exactly. The quote ends with, he could hold a passionate discussion about metaphysics, but was so impractical that he couldn't drive a manual car.
Okay, hashtag same though.
Okay, well,
okay,
I
a
can-
lot
I
of
can
us
drive
can't
a
drive
manual
a manual car.
To be fair, though.
To be fair though, why would
So
you need to?
Andrew,
Well, they're in Australia.
They're in
In
Australia.
Australia, you kind of need to.
it's a little nutty not to. Yeah. So Andrew refused to hand over his DNA because he claimed he didn't, quote, trust the system, which, like, fair, but that makes you look really sus, and it did. So he was court ordered to hand over his blood. Ken Cox, who we talked
me your
about
blood.
earlier, this forensic botanist from the John Tonga Center, told the jury that there was, quote, 1 chance in 14 trillion that the blood found at the crime scene was from someone other than Fitzherbert.
Fitzherbert.
Fitzherbert. This was the only substantial evidence against him in this case, with no other physical evidence presented. But it was suitable for a jury, and Fitzherbert was sentenced to life imprisonment for the murder in August of 1999.
Well, I mean, I feel like he had no other fucking reason to be there, and there's only one thing of male blood at the scene. Am I putting my foot in my mouth?
We'll see. We may never know, but we'll see. His conviction marked the first time in Australia and only the third in the world where a person was convicted of a crime on the basis of DNA evidence alone. There was still no known motive for this crime, which is incredibly strange given it was a allegedly violent stabbing, which usually indicates passion, hatred, intimacy, obsession, etc., like all
Did
kinds
her
of things like that.
cats all stab her?
We'll get to
With
it.
their little nails. Because you said they were shallow stabs.
We'll get to it.
Oh my God.
Fitzherbert maintained his innocence and started filing appeals. One of Fitzherbert's appeal lawyers, Laura Lee Cameron Dow, says the DNA results do not actually support that 1 in 14 trillion probability.
And didn't
Quote,
they get that number from an entomologist? Isn't that what you said?
No,
the
from
the
the blood.
entomologist was the guy who talked about the maggots. This is a different expert for the blood who gave that figure.
Oh, forensic biologist. I heard entomologist when you said
There
that.
was an entomologist mentioned
Yes,
earlier in
yes,
the
yes,
case,
yes.
but that's not the same person.
Okay, got it.
quote, I've been given alternate estimates from other experts of 1 in 100,000, she says, which like isn't
That's not
that
even
much
close.
better, but like 1 in 100,000 that it could be someone else.
No, I'm saying 1 in 100,000 is not anywhere close to the statistic
14
of
trillion.
1 in 14 trillion. Like
For
those
sure.
are wildly different numbers.
They are wildly different numbers, but also still suggest a high probability that it's his blood, in my opinion, but whatever. Professor Barry Butcher, a leading DNA expert in Australia and influential in uncovering problems with evidence in the Azaria Chamberlain case, which is like a case that they use to reference in appeals for this case, for Fitzpervert, also challenges Cox's interpretations. Quote, there's just no possibility of determining the accuracy of the figure given to the jury, but it would have sounded highly impressive to them.
Mm-hmm.
More worryingly, Botcher says when he examined the graphs of the DNA profiles, the DNA from the male blood at the scene had deteriorated more than the DNA from the, quote, unknown female's blood at the crime scene.
Oh, so
This
the male blood's old.
The male blood's older than the female blood. This unknown female blood was assumed to belong to Kathleen Marshall, but key evidence in the crime scene was never fully examined, including hair, skin, or organs, a pair of bloodied shoes that may not have even belonged to Kathleen. And all of this leads me to believe that maybe Fitzherbert's lack of trust in the system may have been right.
It's also a veterinary office. There's going to be biological matter everywhere.
Botcher believes, quote, there is a chance the greater deterioration of the DNA in the male blood was due to it being deposited some days earlier than Marshall's murder. And only drops of this male blood were found, which could have been from any number of cat scratches in the clinic. Mm-hmm. And it's important to point out that, quote, in many cases, it is not the technology or the science, but the supervising biologist's subjective interpretation of the results that is the crucial factor in assessing whether a suspect sample and a crime scene sample match.
Mm.
The prosecution leaned on the DNA match as, quote, Fitzherbert has left traces of himself at the scene of Kathleen Marshall's murder, and hence the man who left the blood in that surgery is guilty of the murder.
Yeah.
But if he was already connected to Kathleen through the CPSQ, could there be a possibility that his blood ended up there for a completely benign reason?
Yeah, if he brought in his cat who had a scratching problem.
Who knows? Fitzherbert even had an alibi for the night of the murder. Ruth Bennett, his girlfriend, who he was living with at the time, who was in the CPSQ, Fitzherbert was not in the CPSQ, but his girlfriend was, said, quote, we were at a meeting on that Friday night. We got there about 6:30 p.m. and didn't get home until after midnight because after the meeting, we called in to see my daughter. So this alibi wasn't solid enough because
It's his girlfriend.
it's his girlfriend, but like they were in a meeting, so people could corroborate that he was at that meeting.
Yeah.
But the time of death could have been any time on Friday.
Mm.
Like it didn't have to be at that 6:30
Right.
time. It could have happened even before 3 p.m. as we established earlier. But then what about like the scream that they heard from
At 7.
around 7? Like stuff is not adding up.
Right.
And this is where things get very weird, but not
This
confirmed.
is where.
It's all weird. But this had my wheels turning way more than it should have. In 2008, a friend of Kathleen Marshall's who was working in Brisbane as a dermatologist even floated their own theory that the killer was a cat.
Or an owl.
This is
Or
so
a cat.
owl theory personified, but with the cat. They believed it was possible that during a routine examination or procedure, a cat could have gone into a frenzy and attacked Kathleen. Does this sound insane? Yes, but it actually happened once in Quebec where a cat attacked its owner and the person lost over a pint of blood.
Whoa.
And the responding animal control officer described the scene as absolute carnage. Quote, there was blood all over the place, on the ceiling, the floor, and the walls.
See,
Kathleen-
I was right at the beginning, at the top.
You might have been.
That cat
Kathleen-
can fuck you up.
They
at the
can.
vet
It's a real
clinic.
village moment for Kenyon.
Exactly. Kathleen also suffered from Cushing's syndrome, a side effect of which is thin and easily punctured skin.
Ooh.
And in this case, there was no motive ever established, like solidly, no murder weapon ever found, and she could have just bled out. And the single scream, the cat attacked her. No
Yeah.
one sees anyone running away. Like, a cat went nuts and scratched her up and then scampered off, and she bled out on the floor.
But so she could bleed out that quickly before she could try to like get to a phone or get to help?
I don't know.
I mean, if the cat bit her in just the right spots, it could have been a very fast loss of blood.
I have with that Cushing syndrome, who knows?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Wow.
And honestly, we may never know.
Wow.
Despite his attempts at appeal, Fitzherbert remained in jail until 2014 when he was released on parole after serving 15 years as a, quote, model prisoner. He now lives a simple and quiet life, though there is certainly a movement dedicated to clearing his name after all these years. Like, a lot of people don't think he did it. And, I don't fucking know. But I'll leave you with this. The murder of Dr. Marshall was not the only murder to occur within the Cat Protection Society of Queensland.
Oh my God.
In 1982, a member of the Cat Protection Society named Frank Castanola was shot dead on the porch of his home, though this was not believed to be a cat-related or motivated attack.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Isn't that nuts?
Yeah. I
Agatha
think it was a
Christie, was it the cat? I mean, not me over here thinking maybe it was a cat.
People have died in weirder ways.
So many weird ways for people to die, and
I
why
wouldn't
not
wanna-
a cat?
I wouldn't want to have to take on a cat.
Fuck no.
Especially a cat. Okay, so one time, I don't bring this up often because it wasn't his fault, but
Oh, what did Ray do?
when Claire was still alive, my sister's cat,
Claire was
really cruel. And it might be because he was initially misgendered for the first year of his life. But,
That's fair. Year? I thought it was several years.
well, we had to take him in to get spayed, and then we realized it was a boy,
Got it.
Clarence. Anyway, one time I was at home by myself, and he was by the front door, and he'd like, I have no idea what happened, but he started hissing and growling at me, and I was like trapped in a corner.
Oh.
He got some weird psychosis, or he got scared, or some like actual wild animal side of him came out.
They can pop off.
And I had to like take a deep breath and like run past him and run downstairs. And he tried to attack me when I was running past him.
Mm-hmm.
It was weird.
You could have been Kathleen.
Could have been.
You could have been ripped to shreds by Claire.
Could have been.
Anyway, that's my case, and it's my
loved
favorite.
it.
wild. Well
I
done.
kind of couldn't believe it was real, but it's real.
Here for it.
Wow.
You're welcome.
All
I'm
right.
actually here for both of your cases.
Yeah.
This was a
with the-
great episode.
Good job. Thank you,
loved these
Ravina.
cases.
Thank you,
Yes,
Ravina.
You're amazing.
And happy belated birthday. And we'll talk to you next week.
See you next week.
Bye-bye.